Well, hello people, and welcome back to part 55 of Egginburgh, our Cities Skylines 2 build. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Now we're back in the British Council estate, which is currently suffering from garbage piling up problems, which is not too dissimilar to what's actually going on in the UK at the minute with the bin strikes. So CS2 seemingly reflecting in real life again, isn't it? Either way, welcome back to the British side of the city, everyone. Today we're going to build a prison, not because it's the British side of the city, not for that reason. But I've been thinking what to do with this headland. Now, the coasts around Great Highlands are all very kind of shattered, aren't they? Very jagged, very rough. You know, there's not much kind of cute sandy beach here. So with that in mind, I think this little headland here would do quite nicely, kind of terraformed into something of a Alcatraz facility island. We'll make it an island with some terraforming today. But that should be a lot of fun. There's also tremendous views to this wider city from here, right? I think there's fewer experiences in video gaming that are as satisfying as late game Cities Skylines 1 or 2. I think just having a sprawling metropolis that runs for miles, you know, there's all the detail in there. It's a very satisfying experience. Been a massive crash in Yorkshire over there as well, dear mate. That's okay though, we don't have to deal with that today. So let's come into our terrain first of all. We'll kind of work backwards there. I kind of want to work from inside the build and then outwards to make sure we give it enough room. So what I really want to do on this peninsula is go ahead and find the tallest point, which looks to be about this one, I think, doesn't it? Probably that contour line right there, isn't it? I think so. Of course, with any terraforming project, it will look horrendous until 5 minutes before the end of the build. So bear with it. But what I really want to do here is just take the high point of the island and give that so it's kind of the podium for the prison, if you like. We've also got some castle ruins here as well. We won't be using you. I actually wonder if we're going to keep the Chaos Gardens going in CS2 like we did in 1, right? We'll have to check. So let's come into our police tab. Now, the vanilla prison, I think, is the only one, isn't it? All the other ones are just police stations. They are indeed. Goodness, there's a lot of them, isn't there? Those region packs are mental. I'll never not be blown away by just how many assets they brought, right? So I think we're going to do a little bit of better bulldozing with a few of these. So I'm going to place one down. Now, it's 650 grand, and it's 70,000 a month to upkeep, so they're not exactly cheap. But I do want to use a few of them, I think. Let's take a look at the asset itself. So, it's quite nice, isn't it? And it doesn't honestly immediately scream prison, does it? I think you could probably pass this off as some sort of campus building or kind of like a major office block in a kind of in some form of institute somewhere, right? Also looks a little bit like a school, which is probably a little bit damning of the school system, isn't it? when your prison starts to look like schools, something is wrong. But beyond that, and I think in administration, yeah, this is all the welfare stuff, isn't it? We don't want this really near the prison. That's okay. There's also another thing I want to include near the prison as well, which you've probably seen in the title of today's episode. And this is introducing, finally, metro infrastructure into the city. Because we haven't even unlocked it yet, which is kind of mad, really. So coming into subway, first of all, we'll have the subway yard, which will unlock the stations for us. So we'll feed this as an underground line, I think, definitely through and around the downtown spaces where you would expect to find an underground metro circuit. So I also want this metro yard to kind of be visible as well, I think, from the prison itself. Almost like I want the prisoners sort of overlooking this bit of outer-lying industrial infrastructure, right? If we can prepare something of a bit of a mock sight line there, right? So I'll probably end up moving it a little bit closer once we're happy with this prison facility, I think. I'm just going to bring the terraformed platform over this way a little bit. Just because I want the prison to be essentially a touch further down the island. Something like this, probably. Yeah, that seems pretty good. Touch further back just so we got a room for some nice border stuff. And then we'll rotate it around, and I'm pretty sure that's the positioning we'll go for there, right? I'm going to be nice and happy with that. Let's bring some road connections in, of course. People will need to access this, and then we'll also kind of plan out the rest of the sort of accessibility, I suppose, into what is a very high security facility. So with the road, I think we just want to use just regular 2-lane road here. I don't think there's a need for anything fancy. We'll probably use some alleyways around the facility too. We also have road against road action here, which I'm not sure if I'm actually an enormous fan of that. I think we'll probably actually not have that there. It looks a little bit strange, doesn't it? And then from this kind of main collector road, we can have this come into the facility. We'll create some nice slope action for this to come out of. Let's say somewhere around here. Generally just ease that out. We use probably a lot of the cut and fill stuff today as well to give, I guess, foundation to this Alcatraz sort of facility, right? Definitely sort of out isolated by the water. Gives very strong Alcatraz vibes, doesn't it? Not that we're really taking inspiration from that at all today. With this inn, the prison also has a number of upgrades, including the prison wing, which is quite a nice little building, to be honest. I don't mind this one at all. So I think with these little smaller, lower security units, let's try and use some angled parking around these and just have them a little bit away from sort of the maximum security unit, if you like. I think we'll do 2 back to back. So let's bring them up here. I want to do something a bit different with that road. We'll come back to that in a second. We need, what's that, just 1 more tile up. So I'll have some back to back like that. And then essentially want to do this. Let's grab the angled parking. That one. There and there. Yeah, let's let that break in the middle like that. I actually think maybe I want to break an entire segment of non-parking, I think is what I'd rather do there. And then let's actually also upgrade that road back into this way so it's aligned with the road rather than the car park. That's very tasteful. I really like how that looks actually. Let's also do the same down this side as well. Super. So stitching them together certainly just expands the footprint of this building, doesn't it? But it does also have another upgrade actually for a prison library and recreational centre. Which is just another bolt-on, which makes it look chunkier, so I think I'm happy to go with that. So the site won't get much bigger than this. We'll obviously do lots of detailing around it to help just accentuate the prison vibe. But I'll be happy with that. So we did want this to be an island, didn't we? So I've just taken the metro bit out for now. It's also been crashing non-stop today, which has been an absolute nightmare. So apologies if the editing is a little bit joltier than usual. We're having to deal with crashes in between gameplay sessions. So with this here, I'd rather it kind of really isolate this chunk here. So why don't we follow this kind of natural terrain that's already here, right? So all this flat space here can just become another little seaway in these kind of shattered finger islands, right? So let's really focus on kind of tearing up this terrain, right? We want it to be quite jagged, kind of unfriendly coastline, right? So with the roads around here, I think we'll just grab the regular alleyway stuff, and then let's force a key onto the right side here. And I think I want to keep it kind of a fairly rigid shape, so rather than it following this cliff line here, I think we'll kind of form a new cliff line around it. Now, I do want there to be things between the road and essentially what is the edge of the facility. That also needs to be one way, doesn't it? I'll do that in a second as well. So I don't want it to be right up against the edge of the road, right? Just give it a little bit of breathing room for that one there. And then we'll realign again with this grid. Let's go... We hit a guideline here, actually. Yeah, let's do that instead. And then let's bring this all the way around. I think we could even have some fun with the entrance to the prison there as well, with how those embanked key roads meet. Creating a bit of a false gate and perhaps with some security gate props, so they might be difficult on the hill. We might have to level it out a little bit. We'll see what happens in the detail time lapse. But it gives a nice kind of foundation, I think, doesn't it, to the whole facility. I just need to peel back the terrain here a little bit too. So I don't want it to be fully down all the way. I'm happy for some sort of, you know, dirt and sand to be accumulated against the edges there. No? But otherwise, it gives kind of a foundation to the entire site, doesn't it, I think, which is really cool. Definitely one of the best things CS2's seen is those kind of embanked key roads, like keys integrated with networks, is very cool. One of my favourite bits of the game, actually. Very nice. We'll have that there. So we also want the metro yard over here as well, like we talked about. So let's do that. And let's bring in our subway. I have to actually unlock it again. I've suffered with endless crashes today. It's been... I've almost thought about actually killing Egginburgh at some points in today's recording session. It's been that bad, honestly. Absolute nightmare. So let's have this. Now, I think I'd prefer it... When we're going to bring the road in, we do have road access this side. I think I prefer rails facing kind of toward the prison. Now we can discuss orientation. Now we got that terraforming done. I think that looks pretty nice there, doesn't it? I'm pretty happy with that, actually. This also needs to be terraformed. Although I wouldn't actually mind making this keyed and embanked, kind of like they have put, you know, like false walls in here. A little bit LA Riverish, like it's been sort of terraformed and manipulated by the council, maybe. We'll see how that works out with the metro yard build. But coming back to this for a second, Firehouse is where we need to stop next because I want to use the fire watchtowers, which I don't think need a road connection, do they? I'm actually not sure. It does not need a road connection, but requires electricity to function. Okay. If I did that, does that power you? You seem to be happy. But of course, what they're functioning as is watchtowers. Obviously. So let's place a few of these around. We'll have one there. And let's have another one. I think 2 by the entrance gates, right? I suppose we should probably keep them equidistant to the other side, shouldn't we? Imagine that something like that would probably be planned in. Then we'll do that. One there. And then one more on the corner. Yes, of course, you will complain to me. So let's actually give them a road connection. Let's just come out from there. Almost so you can imagine like that's guard access, right? If they're patrolling the perimeter fence here. Actually looks great, that, doesn't it? Such a cool repurposing of assets today, actually. Really happy with it. But yeah, that'll give it electricity once it does have a bridge. Now, in terms of the bridge, we do have options available to us. I think we'll go with the highway road, you know. The raw iron is in the water, which does trigger me as much as you. So let's bring that up a little bit. And then we'll factor that terrain in. We'll just soften it out a little bit. We'll just slightly elevate the bridge here. And do some easier slope work. Actually, kind of having the road embanked here is probably going to help the build, in all honesty. Let's push that out here, and because we're already playing with terrain layers, they will just meet quite nicely. And then we'll create a slope, let's say, from here up to our receiving road. A lot of fun with terrain in today's build. I always enjoy kind of bringing the terrain back into play here with these little CS projects we can come up with. And then that just go straight up. Are we happy with that? I think so. And then little bits of soften around all this. Oh no, not that. Wrong tool. Not little bits of raise, just little bits of soften around here will help us ease in this new infrastructure. Should get some nice layers here as well with the road, hopefully. And then the metro converging. Which, let's have a look at that now while we're approaching it. So I think a bit more room and a bit further back. I'm almost tempted, you know, to do 2 metro yards already. What's the upgrade capacity here? Faster maintenance and then more subway trains. So that gives us 5 extra vehicles compared to a current 10 we have already. So 2 fully upgraded ones would give us 30 metro trains. Which for a population of 177,000. How much public transport ridership are we even getting at the minute? 162,000 a month. Holy crap. That's insane. Really? That many? That's like nearly the entire city. I mean, alright. I'm not going to complain. What's that? We've got 62,000. 62,000 on trains? What? What? what's going on? Let's go find a train station, right? Let's head to the central terminus. Suppose they're busy? Yeah, it is quite a busy transit hub actually, if all these people are coming and going from here non-stop all the time. Okay. I mean, I'm very happy with that. I didn't think we'd have that much ridership. Goodness gracious, the helicopters are so loud, aren't they? Actually deafening. So we also got the modern metro station with the modern architecture pack. So we could use this here as well. So let's move on to the metro bit of the episode then. Now we've got that prison sorted. We'll definitely do more prison detailing. But with this, let's plan in our underground metro network, shall we? So certainly we'll have one running up to the castle from the metro yard, and then I think a separate ring around downtown will be appropriate. We'll see how that goes. So this is all car parking here, isn't it? There is, however, free space right there. It looks like if we just take away a little bit of our previous work, that'll fit quite tidily into the already existing transit hub, won't it? How do we feel about that? Yeah, it's a nice one, that. Pretty cute. We could probably do our own trees in that little planter as well, couldn't we, really? So yeah, this one will run to the metro yards, of course. And coming in here, certainly the new French Quarter, I think, deserves a station. So we'll have that one there. And then it can essentially just follow this arterial, stopping much less frequently, of course, than the trams and the buses going up and down here. So I reckon we'll make the next one actually the Egginburgh Royal Mile can have a stop. Where do we want you? We got any tidy little free squares here? Oh god, there's a lot of disconnected stuff in the German unique building for some reason. You guys okay? Have to see if we can fix that. And then have that on the corner down here as well. That's not clipping with the road, is it? It is. It is, yeah. Let's just move that forward a bit. Fantastic. Cool. So we'll have that there. And then I think certainly over to West Whiskey probably wants a metro station too. Again, where we already have an existing transit hub, where that should pop in quite nicely there as well. Wait, actually, doesn't this station have... It does have a subway interface. There we go. Amazing. We don't even need the station here. That's fantastic. Beautiful to see. And then... I mean, do we want to do 2 loops? Do we want to do a loop through all of West Whiskey through here and bring it back down the couplet system? And then we can have it connect in with the station here. I'll give a lot more interconnectivity with it. Let's do that then. So this one can go... Is it going to fit too deep inside the couplet? Okay, yeah, you can be here near the office part then, and the schools and the general business districts here. And then I reckon we can just frame all these metro stations in the parks down here. And then one more in Central Whiskey. Probably not if it has one there. I think we'll leave it at that then. And then the downtown ring, certainly I think wants to also start from this one here. So certainly let's go from Central Park, right? Any other metro stations? I'm definitely going to keep it all underground. Bourbon's way too developed for an overground metro at this point. We'll have it overground, of course, while it's coming out the yards. We will see the trains, but for a lot of the stops and the passengers here, it is an underground network. And then South Central Park as well. Let's have one there. It can come... Probably not over here. This is quite suburban residential this way. Let's loop it round into our kind of Asia-inspired park up this way. You can sit right there, right inside the park. And coming a little close to Inverness here. Although I wouldn't mind Inverness having metro access either. I mean, we've got another station here, so let's add the subway interface to that. That's where those little modular upgrades are coming in very handy with CS2 actually. That's very cute. We can just stick a metro station on a station like that when we need it. And then come out to, I guess this is kind of North Inverness, isn't it? So this can have another metro stop. Looks like there's a little bit of empty space there for us. And then that will loop into lines. I reckon it can follow the arterial here. It's definitely going to make sense, isn't it? Right on the main street here with all the apartments and offices. I'd love a stop right outside the university. And then that will pretty much loop back into where we already have it. So now with this, let's give priority to our metro lines to leave the yard, and then we can let the roads flow over that. So I think I just want it to follow the river. Now in terms of getting it underground, would it be cool to have the metro trains alongside the highway bridge? I'm very tempted to do that. That might look quite nice actually. We shall see, of course. Yeah, let me give priority to the metro lines here. The roads will go either under or over them depending what the terrain's doing. And then I guess let's stick a key on the left hand side here as it comes by the water. It should look really quite cool and engineered, especially when we've got trains moving on that. We will need to do some height alignment there, of course. I won't let it sit like that, don't worry. And already the furious typing of the metro, please, in the comments below. As we draw that road. So this road here is kind of in my way, and honestly, it's not really that necessary. I might just turn this into a cul-de-sac, you know. Now let's grab the node. Let's take away a few of these trees here. And then let's do cul-de-sac. Just a medium asphalt one is fine. So first of all, let's get lined up with the bridge here with our metro network, and then we'll grade it back down. Oh, the power lines are here though. It's fine. I'll work around them. I'm determined to have this run parallel with the highway. I think it's just going to look so good. So I actually want the guideline on here so we can hit those freeform curves of the highway. Now, as we come up, I'm going to turn my elevation down because we will need to descend back into a tunnel. Yeah, I'm happy to have it lower. And then it can come down underground here as it touches back down to earth. But we do have the clearance to make that happen. Over here, of course, there's trees in the bridge. And then let's keep it at 7 meters as it comes over the cul-de-sac. And then let's give it a big, wide curve for it to chill out on. As it heads back down to earth to sort of swing back around, really, and connect into what lies over here. Let's give the trees a bit of a terraforming so we can see what goes on. Don't hate that. I really do like the way it kind of kicks out. It's very sort of Thessia hot bridges in your area, that, isn't it? Is the curve too tight for metro? I think I've seen Metro turn tighter than that in London, haven't I? If I can flash my memory back to the southern years, maybe. Who knows? And I think I'm going to fully embank the Metro as well as it comes through this area. Just setting those node heights. Exposing a bit more of that retaining wall design we've got in there too. Although we are beginning to introduce severe height differences, it should equalise out there. There we go. It kind of balances out there by itself now, doesn't it? Cool. So that gives us a connection and some really cool new bits of infrastructure over by Yorkshire. I reckon I might even bring it down to the same height as the road here and probably grade it from there. But I'll do that off camera because we've been talking about the Metro for ages now. Let's actually get it. Let's get it hooked in and then we can draw the lines about too. Cool. So that fully connects every station with a loop for the looped metro trains to also make it back to the yard for maintenance. And it embeds quite nicely under the highway. We perhaps need to get a bulldozer the occasional pillar. Otherwise, I'm happy with it there. Just tunnel underground as it reaches. We'll sort out gradients and whatnot during our time lapse today. But it works, and it does give us metro connection, which is very exciting indeed. The first time in Egginburgh. I don't know why I've waited so long to put it in, to be honest. It's just been kind of not top of the to-do list, you know. But it is today. So let's get it hooked in now. With the bridges going back over here, can we not tunnel here? Let's come... I think we'll actually carry on as a bit of a bridge over this way. Can we do that right there? That should give us enough clearance, right? And then with this road, this highway road will provide a lot of the connection for the metro yard, which will appear over here. We've also got quite a lot of industrial around. So I reckon we'll end up doing a bit of industrial zoning around here today. So I think with the metro yards, I'm going to go ahead straight away. I'm going to delete that actually because it's messed up with the trains. I'm going to go ahead and do 2 of them straight away, I think. This way we'll already just be prepped in advance for when we need that extra headroom. And I also think just for the aesthetic of back-to-back metro yard, it is just quite nice, isn't it? There's something very appealing about it. Although, are they connected strangely? Why are you like that? This one in the middle is fine, but I suppose I can maybe even just nudge it off a little bit, actually. Maybe something like that. And then I can just draw the connections in myself. Might look a bit more natural. We'll see. Let's get them hooked in. We'll also do the cute little single track ones over here too. Like it's all just one awesome interconnected yard. Some services are going very well here today as well. And we were suffering with garbage at the start of this episode, weren't we? So I wonder if we can also accommodate some new garbage collection over here. I didn't think we'd have enough of it though, to be honest, but it is increasingly demanding. You may also be wondering, if you're familiar with Egginburgh, you're probably saying, Egg, where is the car factory? Car factory is gone. I accidentally saved over it when I built the Eastern European side of the city over there. Noticed it, recorded another episode, came back and I was like, car factory isn't there. And having already recorded an episode, the car factory's gone. I'm going to rebuild it on a stream if Egginburgh stops crashing. But yeah, we will bring the car factory back, don't worry. It's just not there right now. I'm not sure if it's CS2's general unstableness or if it's specific to Egginburgh at this point, given how old the city is, but still a lot of projects I want to do in it yet. I'm not ready to retire the launch day build. But honestly, with today's crashing, if I'm also getting this again, oh, holy crap. If I'm also getting this again next week, given the fact we've also just started a new vanilla build in CS2, I'll probably have to leave Egginburgh a little bit sooner than I wanted to. But we'll see. It's a little bit of terrain work here around to blend in the transition of the bridge back to the prison island. But I like that, right? I really like that. So let me go and draw all the metro lines in, and then we can see one leave the first time. And good news, everyone. Metros are now leaving. It took a really long time for them to register, actually. Yeah, it took a really long time to start departing for some reason. I was about to start some investigations into what was going on. But there we go, slowly and outright into the big city over there. Very tasty indeed. That's got to be possibly my favourite sightline in the city, you know. I think we should get a screenshot of that actually. Quite nice, isn't it? Really happy with that. Cool. So they're off, so we just laid out the lines as we talked about. There's also express routes as well. I'll just show you if you are curious. So, example here, you can see the loop around the downtown from Inverness to Bourbon running, just parallel all the way around both stations. And then there's a line that runs from the transport hub in the city centre up to West Whiskey train station, and then it doubles back on itself back to the transport hub. And then there's that separate loop as well around Whiskey, which is the same thing that's really happening around Bourbon and Inverness, which is very nice. So finally, after 55 episodes, there's the train line, because we haven't sunk it down deep enough. I will fix that, don't worry. I just need to drag the nodes a little bit further underground so they're underwater. But beyond that, it is very nice to have functioning, flowing metro in there. I really like it. Slightly embanked here again too. Around that bend as it kicks out across the water. Very tasty. That's such a nice additional layer to that sightline, isn't it? Those trains coming and going. Of course, this line won't be super busy because they'll only come back here when they need to be serviced, so we won't see them all the time, but when we do, it will be very special. There's even traffic backing up out here as well. Fantastic. And then with some industry around here, certainly want some. Let's come into just our normal roads. And let's go for off here. Now, we did say we want garbage collection, didn't we? How are we actually doing for it? Not too bad, actually, but I guess it's just maybe possibly lack of simulation that's causing the garbage pile up. There are garbage trucks across the city, we can see them. But let's try instead a new one. Or is that a small recycling centre by itself? That's so cute, isn't it? I don't know what pack that's from. It's obviously a mod, isn't it? But a small recycling centre. Just something out here that can help assist with the workload, especially around Yorkshire. It doesn't have any upgrades, but I'm okay with that, to be honest. That's fine. And then I want to just have the roads wrap this up in a nice cute little package. And then we can start to have some industrial zone. I think I'm going to throw in some one-way angled parking as well here. Just to help mix things up a little bit. And I always love these parking roads as frontage networks. Really reminds me of kind of Phoenix and Ilos, seeing those frontage networks positioned like that. Lots of inspiration, of course, from our time in the desert many years ago now, wasn't it? Goodness me. Ilos was a good old long time ago. So nothing massive here. I'm not after it on like a factory or anything. I really want the metro yard just to be surrounded by some auxiliary, supplementary dirty services. How are we doing for sewage as well? Very nearly on the cusp, actually. So we could possibly do... Water treatment plant is like a really modern... It looks like a modern office building, doesn't it? More than anything. I'm not sure. We might have a look at another solution for wastewater. Want something a bit dirtier than that, you know. But regardless, we're at a good point now for some detailing. I'm going to add some more supplementary buildings around here, visitor car parking, likely some sports courts as well. General prison vibes, you know. Things we covered before and have looked at many times before. I refined some of the more janky terrain work that's still knocking around. Just helped settle everything in. That water seems to have filled in quite nicely as well. And this right side of the river also wants terraforming and decorating, so we'll do that as well. But beyond that, should be a pretty fun one as we've added some, oh yeah, and also sort out those nodes on the metro alongside the road as well. But let's have some fun detailing our kind of outer lying city supplementary services, shall we? And then we'll be right back. So I've had to start the detailing review right here because there's a train leaving Metro Yard, which looks very, very nice indeed, doesn't it? It has that rough terrain. Very cool. Oh, there's two of them. There's two of them. Very nice. So of course, they've been in for maintenance. One gives way to the other. I've slightly changed the tracks over here as well, which looks very good. I'm really happy with how this all turned out. We've also thrown lots and lots of decals across the rail yard. I just felt an area like this should be, you know, dirty, not the usual sort of clean, or clean rather. At CS concrete, it felt a little bit weird for a metro yard. You imagine all the oil and dust and grime that falls off these things would make this a pretty dirty place, so decals to reflect that. Just a collection of our usual stuff, right? Just looks so much better, doesn't it? A bit of dirt and grime works wonders for any industrial build, really. And they've also got some stains and graffiti against the metro yard buildings themselves, with our metro train props just scattered across the yard. There's a few of them dotted around in for maintenance, of course. Got in some industrial zoning within the yard itself, and then more graffiti over this side. Before we just have a selection of industrial zoning, which is still a little bit strange. Egginburgh's service economy, or the production economy rather, is now pretty balanced in most materials besides the near 100-ton deficit of grain. But in material goods, it still lacks a lot of what it pretty much always has for its entire lifespan, really. Clothes and convenience food have always been in massive deficits, which is interesting because we do have a lot of farmland in the city, but we've never just been able to keep up with demand for it. Which I guess is probably the same in a lot of cities, really, isn't it? With that sort of stuff. But either way, more decals over and around here, right, just adds so much to the area. Parking roads always coming in handy. And then we've got some, again, there's a mix of that business, really. We've got grain storage, there's regular warehouses over here. And we've also thrown in a landfill to help service the extra garbage demands we were getting across the city here, but I'm not even sure if that's just sort of simulation lag now, if you're like not able to deal with the demands of a population of this size. I'm not sure. There is plenty of garbage capacity in the city there. More parking in against here, against the metro, and a really nice, well, I wouldn't say nice, but quite a thematic industrial view, that, isn't it, I think, right? You know, sort of a general sort of part of the city. You can even see the metro train leaving there as well. Doesn't that look wonderful? Get a little screenshot of that. But a nice little industrial area, and it has actually, well, it did very briefly before it spiked again, bring Egginburgh's industrial demands down. And with our final view over there too. Let's check out the prison before we head over to the road networks over there, where we've done some work as well. Just texture and terraforming around here with the fencing leading up to the prison, where we also have a little bit of fun detailing with some parking here. So I'll try to go for the idea that, you know, vehicles that enter this prison are usually probably searched at the front gate, which is what this office is here for, to administrate that. Police parking also nearby. 2 garbage trucks here have been pulled over and are perhaps having some contraband scanned and whatnot and investigated. And then over here, there's another little security booth, you know, where you can come in and perhaps, you know, you get told to pull over for a search maybe as you come in. So there's post vans, prison, road maintenance all pulled over here, ready to be searched as they enter the facility, which I thought was a really fun little detail. And then just do some cones around the edge with more of those dirt and damage decals across these open concrete spaces, at least. Over here, a little bit of office fusing and just recolored it to be blue to reflect the more sort of law enforcement prison vibe. And then also better bulldozed all of the signage off of it as well, because that was really hurting the vibe, seeing, like, you know, neckbeard Mike's logo in the prison. Now with the fence, you've probably noticed we went with the Japanese school fence, which is much higher than any of the network fences. And I think it works quite nicely as a prison fence, doesn't it? It's you can obviously tell what it's there for. Around the edges, we just have the path patterns to, you know, demarcate patrol routes, perhaps where our soldiers are walking through, where there's gates through here. We are also missing, seemingly, a single little panel there. I'm not sure what happened to that one. And then there's also done some fence work around the road here as well, just to kind of show you it was, you know, perhaps kind of a semi-open gate, ready to receive a batch of prisoners as they are brought in here, where they are then introduced into a wider yard, which I've just sketched out the textures, drawn a little bench here, perhaps a program of work that the prisoners completed for a community and led to a tree being planted here or something. There's benches, basketball, gym, general prison recreation, But either way, that completes the back end of the prison, and then all of that terraforming work has just been leveled out and evened off all the way around with our terrain over this way. So it's pretty nice. I'm pretty happy with the terrain work we've done here. I think it's given much more interest to this kind of headland by the water, hasn't it? And then over here, we've just leveled off the metro and softened the terrain a little bit against the road with a little bit of an oak lining in there, just so it's a little bit more stable passing through this area, as it then kicks back off into the bridge and heads underground as it goes into the city. Now, in terms of the stations, they're getting some decent usage, actually. Subway lines, the 4 of them that are in the city, are up to pretty much 28,000 citizens a month, and not too many tourists, actually. Goodness gracious, there's fucking helicopters. The loudest things in the universe, aren't they? Like, just ahead of, like, jet engines, almost. So unbalanced, the sound there. Anyway, regardless of that, the stations are getting nice and busy. You won't be able to tell too much, I suppose. Well, I suppose you can, actually, because on the subway interface, which we've never actually checked out before, of course, on this station, they just got a little underground segment there, do they? That's very nice, isn't it? That's such a cool little bolt-on, isn't it, for that building there? I really like that. So that is splendid and tremendous. So decent usage across the city. Let's check out some of the bourbon ones. And then also over here in the Central Park metro station, which now sits in the shadow of all these renovations we've done over the last 10 episodes or so, right? And a really interesting bit of the city. Tons of people spilling out of this into the walkable elevated pedestrian path network too. That's so cool, that, isn't it? Really, really love downtown Edinburgh. And then of course we'll swing by the transit hub just over here. We have a very busy network where the metro is also probably sucking quite a bit of traffic off of those trams, I imagine, actually. Just since they were so busy, weren't they, when we checked them out, the trains too. So metro should definitely take its fair load, which it seems to be doing. And again, this also has amazing views. Let's get a screenshot of that as well, right? Beautiful. I really love this transit hub. In hindsight, now we're at the end of the project. I wish maybe I'd have placed it a little more centrally from where it is. Perhaps maybe, you know, like right here rather than here. But small detail. And yeah, I've just really come to love this bit of the city. So cool, isn't it? This mega busy transit hub with a slowing simulation. That's 3-speed, by the way, which isn't very healthy over here. But yeah, the simulation speed, it does slow a little. But beyond that, I think we will certainly have some goodbye cinematics for Egginburgh. Let me know if you do want to see them, as we usually do. I know there's mixed opinions on CS2, but I've thoroughly enjoyed just, you know, this project as a whole. It's been a really fun one to piece together. Despite the roughness and some of the sharpness some of the edges have, I have thoroughly enjoyed Egginburgh. Alright guys, but that'll do it for today. I'd like to thank you all so much for watching. I mentioned several times today that Egginburgh has had severe crashing, and that has made it significantly difficult to produce content in this city. The bigger and older and more updates it goes through. It's just, I really want to finish it. There's so many more projects I want to attempt in this city, and so much of the map is left unfilled. But with the crashing, if I'm getting this again next week, this could be the last episode of Egginburgh. But with the new vanilla series, there's still plenty more CS content to enjoy on the channel alongside our CS1 stuff. What a fun little custom prison, metro yard, industrial build today. Nice little outer-lying kind of grim services for the city, which is always needed. Massive shout out to the patrons and YouTube members that support these videos, with a roll call to our amazing Golden Egg patrons, Andrew Perez, Bad Wolf, Casino, Darius, Lara Roberts, Libby Adlam, Phoenix MD, Spartan Angel, Tiana Sannon, and Wesley Kipp. Thank you so much indeed for all of your support. If you want to get involved in that, links down below to Instant Gaming and Patreon. Best ways to do so. Otherwise, enjoy the cinematics, but I'll show up and leave it there. Let's thank you all so much for watching, and as always, enjoy the rest of your day.